السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Brothers and sisters, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us in the company of the righteous in this world. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise us amongst the righteous on the day of Qiyamah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fill our lives with mercy and rahmah, as all of us are in the need of the rahmah and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are on the 38th chapter of the book, Riyadus Saliheen, and the chapter is with regards to encouraging our family members, our children, and our spouses towards the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and stopping them from the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the last hadith of the chapter, and it's very similar to what we spoke about last night. But there was just one more point that I wanted to mention, and the hadith is, the last hadith of the chapter is when Abi Thurayd Subra bin Ma'bad al-Juhni radiyallahu anhu قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم علموا الصبي الصلاة ل7 سنين وضربوه عليها 12 سنين أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. حديث حسن رواه أبو داود والترمذي وقال حديث حسن. So the hadith is reported by Subra bin Ma'bad al-Juhni radiyallahu anhu, who reports that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Allimu, teach your children, teach your awlad to make salah, your children to make salah at the age of 7, and to be tough or harsh with them when they reach the age of 10. We spoke about this hadith last night. And we talked about the details of the importance of teaching our children and being the example for our children and being really the true figures that we want within our children, inshallah, as they grow old. I was reading this somewhere and I wanted to share this with you, and that's why I shared this hadith similar to last night's. And again, there's no exact perfect book, but when we look at the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as this is the perfection, as the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, scholars have deduced that there are 5 mistakes that are usually made when we try to discipline our children. And these are 5 things that must be avoided, and things that will really create goodness inside of them rather than creating children which will become rebellious and go away from us. Number 1 thing, there are 5 things that are mistakes, common mistakes when we discipline our children. Number 1 is that we become enraged when we're trying to fix their mistakes. We're not trying to just correct them, but there's too much anger inside when we're trying to change the wrong that we see in their lives. So getting enraged is the first mistake when we are disciplining our children. If you want goodness in your life and the life of your children, then be careful and do not become enraged when you're trying to discipline your children. That's number 1 thing. Number 2 thing that's very, very important is when you're trying to discipline your children, and this is for me as well, let's not compare our children with others. What we do is that we compare our children with others. Oh, he or she is like that, or their child is like that, and you are like that. And we begin to compare our children. This is against the true disciplining of our children. We should not be, comparing our children with anyone else. The flowers of a garden all has its own distinct, fragrance and its own color itself. So we should not become those who compare our children. All their efforts is gone by one word saying that, oh, so-and-so child is like that, and you're not like that. That's it, it's done. All the effort, struggle, you don't know what they went through to keep up the work that they were doing. That one statement of ours that we were expecting, subhanAllah, takes away everything. Third is the most common one that I always repeat and I always say, don't be the parent who say, do as I say, not as I do. Meaning, be the example for your children. Be the people that you want to see in your child. Not only your words, but your actions, right? Don't say something and do something else. Don't say, be on time when I tell you next time and we're not on time. Make sure you're truthful in your speech, and I lie in front of my own children just so that I can say a few dollars or something else. So be careful, because our actions have a long-term impact on our children's life. So number 3 is that we need to be careful that whatever we say, inshallah, we have in our lives. Number 3, as adults, as we hope for respect in our lives, children also have honor. So respecting what Allah has given our children, and to not create disrespect towards our children as well, and to teach them or treat them in an honorable way. When we give honor to our children and teach them from that very young age that their honor and their respect also matters, inshallah, it's going to go a long way. So, and of course, this is last but not least, the last one is, and this is for me and all of us to take back, is stop expecting perfection in your life of your children. If I cannot be perfect, then my child is not perfect as well. We're not perfect. When we discipline our children, we expect that they are perfect. Expectation of perfection is one of the biggest mistakes when we're disciplining our children. There will always be flaws. There will always be shortcomings, but we always need to make sure that we expect them to do their best, but of course try towards perfection, but it's not always possible to be perfect. So 5 things, inshallah, please remember, 5 disciplining mistakes that I make, and of course as a community we need to learn. When we try to change a mistake in our child's life, please don't get enraged. Rather than focusing on our words, they're too scared about the words that we're saying and they're not listening to us. Getting enraged when we're disciplining them, number 1. Number 2, we should not compare our children. Never compare your child in front of them with anyone else. Number 3 itself is be a person who is practically as an example for them, not as a person who says, do as I say, not as I do, but be an example for your children. Number 3, avoid the moments that we tend to lose the respect of our children. So not respecting our own children. And last but not least, we need to stop expecting perfection in their lives, as if I cannot be perfect, they cannot. But inshallah, we strive toward perfection. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us and protect our awlad and our children. May Allah keep them upon deen and Islam, and Allah allows us to inshallah do their tarbiyah in a way that they could be a means of our honor in this world and akhirah, inshallah. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka. Salam.